get enough of your beautiful campus and all of you beautiful people. So thank you so much once again for the opportunity, and many thanks to the Almond Board of California for having me here today. It's already up. Okay, before I start the presentation, I have a few questions for you. How many of you eat almonds? Wow, okay, the entire audience, that's amazing. How frequently do you eat almonds? Once a week? Less than once a week? No. Okay, twice a week? Every day? 3 times a week? Okay, 3 times a week? Okay. Every day, almost every day?
Yeah.
Most of you, right? Okay, how many almonds do you eat when you eat almonds? 1, 2, 5? 5? How many say 5? I'm hearing a lot of 5s. 4 to 5, okay. 10? Anybody? Oh wow, okay. Great. And anybody more than 10? No? Okay, those of you who raised your hands for 10, and very interesting. How do you eat them? Meaning, what is the process you follow? You eat them as is, you make it into a flour and eat, you make it into milk, almond milk and drink it, or how do you eat it? How do you take almonds? Come on, 3 of you raise your hands for 10. Oh wow, okay. All of them at one go? Okay, alright. And somebody else who raised your hand for 10 almonds? Okay, alright. So that's interesting. I don't know if any of you have done some kind of a single subject analysis of, how you feel by taking so many almonds and stuff like that, but probably you can think of that sometime later. Because single subject analysis and studies are also becoming popular now. Alright, so why do you eat almonds, all of you? I mean, all of you are consuming almonds on a regular basis. Why? Is it because your parents do it? Is it because your grandparents do it? Or is it some other reason? Or because you like it? What is the reason you're eating almonds every day? Anybody? Good for? Good fats. Wow. Oh yeah, of course, nutrition students. Alright, what other reason?
It's a habit.
It's a habit. So when did the habit start?
My Rani mom, she used to soak almonds for the whole house.
Oh, how
In
lovely.
the morning, she used to peel off the skin and used to feed us all, like giving us in our hand every morning after we brush our teeth. Like,
Oh, sweet. Okay. And how many almonds did all of you get?
4, 5.
Okay, each of you in the household, is it? Okay, what a lovely Nanima. Alright. What other reasons do you eat? So one eats because of healthy fats, the other one eats because of her grandmother's generosity and interest in soaking and peeling and giving it to everyone. What other reasons do you have? Or you just eat it with no reason at all? Yeah? No reason at all? You just eat because it's at home? Or when do you eat it? The next question. Wow. All of you eat early morning? So is it soaked and peeled and eaten early morning, or you just pop them into your mouths? Soaked and peeled? Wow, that's quite an echo. But why are you soaking and peeling it? To reduce the phytic acid. Okay, interesting. Any other reason? How much of phytates do you think almonds have, and do you think it's really worth removing the fiber? Does it help? All of you, I'm sure all of you know almond skin is fiber, right? Okay, so do you think discarding the fiber versus removing the phytic acid, which is better? Something to think about? Yeah? Okay, so there are even some studies recently done in the West to show that phytates are actually not bad. There might be some beneficial aspects to it. So, that's a totally different topic. I don't want to go there now. But since you said phytic acid, I just mentioned this. But what I'm trying to say is, I think fiber is also equally important, and we might not get adequate amount of fiber every day. So, if you consume almonds, it might be a good idea to include the skin, because the studies that I'm going to present on the researchers' behalf today have all used raw unsalted whole almonds with skin, and not just 2 and 4, larger quantities, right? So that's where I'm coming from. Great, I'm very happy to hear that all of you consume almonds every day, and 4 to 5 is a great number to begin with. But you can continue to eat them every day, and I'm sure all of you have great gut health, so you can eat the fiber too and digest and improve your gut microbiome, etc., etc. All right, so now what do you think are the health benefits of almonds? Somebody said healthy fats, but anything else? Have you come across anything regarding health benefits of almonds? Brain health, okay. Coming from where? Which nutrient? Okay, great. Anything else? Polyphenols, okay, wonderful. Anything else? Vitamin E, and connected to what health? Skin health, precisely. Okay, what else? So you know it all. What other studies or what other information have you come across regarding almonds? What are the other health benefits? Absolutely. Okay, that's fantastic. You all know that it has low GI, right? It is a low GI food, right? So yes, it can be eaten by people with diabetes also. And how many of you believe that eating almonds can increase body weight? Anybody? No? So do you think? Sorry?
You consume it in excess.
In excess, okay, of course. Anything in excess, right, is not going to help the body anyway. So since none of you agree, which means, do you all agree that almonds do not increase body weight? Yes? Yeah? Okay, wonderful. Again, there are several studies to show that it helps. It supports weight management. It supports heart health. Yeah? And there are studies to show that it helps blood glucose control. There are studies to show, somebody mentioned about vitamin E and skin health. So there are studies to show that it helps in skin health. So there have been several studies done across the globe, including in India. And I'm here to show you just 3 of them. I think the students that attended the session last year already know about one of the studies that I'm going to present today, but the other 2 are new. So this disclaimer, this research is not done by me. It is done by researchers across the globe. Yeah, one in the US, one in UK, and one in India. So I'm only sharing the information with you in a very simple, basic manner, right? So I'm not presenting the entire, the graphs and all the entire research paper to you, but I'm just sharing the information about almond research on behalf of Almond Board of California to all of you. All right? Okay. Shall we begin?
Yes.
What do you think the first research is about? Not on skin health, not on heart health, not diabetes, not weight management. What else could it be?
Gut health.
Not gut health. What else? Yes, benefits. All 3 are about benefits of almonds. Okay, what do you think the first 2 are about? Just take a wild guess.
Weight management.
Not weight management, not skin, not heart. Okay, what if I said it's something to do with exercise recovery? I know, exactly, muscle. Yeah, it's about muscle damage, right? Okay, so these are the 2 studies. The first 2 studies are based on exercise recovery. I'm going to start now with, of course, this, I'm sure all of you know what the snacking trend in India is, right? We don't want to see, and I'm sure you will not advise your patients to eat like this. And instead, if that were to be replaced by a handful of almonds on a daily basis, you would get so much of nutrients, because almonds are rich. Oops, sorry. Which is the pointer? This one, yeah. Almonds are rich in protein, in fiber, in monosaturated fatty acids, in vitamin E, magnesium, and they also contain other nutrients. So definitely a beneficial snack or a food item to use. Morning is fine, afternoon, mid-morning is fine. afternoon is fine, whenever you want, even over the day if you want to spread, like eating 2 or 3 at a time over a period of time, that's fine too. And as one of you said, your grandmother has been doing that for years. So almonds are not new to India. It's just that our grandmothers, even my parents and my in-laws, they did not know what the scientific details about almonds, right? They did not know about scientific research about almonds. They didn't even know why almonds were good, but they only knew almonds were good for health. And they made us eat it every day as we were growing up, even that many years ago, right? So everyone in India knows that almonds are good for health. They make, the seniors, the elders make us eat. And as we become adults, we continue the practice. But today we have a lot of research coming and telling us that it's actually backed by science. Alright? So here's the first study, which I'm again presenting to you in a very brief manner. It was a randomized crossover trial by Dr. Mark Kern from the School of Exercise and Nutritional Sciences, San Diego University in California. And the title of the study was Almond Consumption Modestly Improves Pain Ratings, Muscle Force Production, Biochemical Markers of Muscle Damage Following Downhill Running in Mildly Overweight Middle-Aged Adults. Alright? So their hypothesis was that consuming 2 ounces of almonds every day for 8 weeks would enhance the recovery from eccentric exercise. Eccentric exercise is when during an activity your muscle is actually stretched, right? Oh, you all know that. Okay, so that is eccentric exercise compared to a calorie matched pretzel intake, right? So they expected to reduce biomarkers of muscle damage, that is creatine kinase and myoglobin, and decrease CRP, which is an inflammatory marker, simultaneously improving subjective and objective parameters of sports performance, right? So they used raw, shelled, unsalted, whole almonds to do this study. And the participants were 26 healthy, mildly overweight, middle-aged adults who exercised for 1 or 4 hours per week, right? So basically it was a small group of people, but they were chosen based on some inclusion and exclusion criteria. Exclusion criteria included smokers, people who are on NSAIDs, inflammatory medications like non-inflammatory medications like corticosteroids, and inflammatory medications like anti-inflammatory medications like corticosteroids and stuff like that. Also supplements like vitamin E, vitamin C and all of that, because that would interfere with the study, right? Oops, yeah. So how were they? How did they participate in the study? It was a randomized crossover design, like I said before. So either 57 grams of raw almonds or 86 grams of calorie-matched pretzels were given every day for 8 weeks, and this was followed by a 3-day exercise recovery period and a 4-week washout period in between, right? After each phase, they completed a 30-minute downhill treadmill run to induce muscle damage, and a serving of the food with either almonds or pretzels were given immediately after the run and also 3 days post-exercise, and measurements were taken at 24 hours, 48 hours and 72 hours. So this is just a diagrammatic representation of the methodology, because methodology is very important, as you know, in every research, right? So initial screening and consent was taken, then 8 weeks of supplementation, then the baseline measures were done, then the downhill run for 30 minutes was done. At the end of it, almonds were given again, and recovery measurements were taken at 24, 48 and 72 hours, and soon after taking the recovery measurements, a vertical jump challenge was also done, and again the almonds were given as a supplement, almonds or pretzels. The test food was given to the participants, and of course following that phase there was a washout period, and then it was a crossover trial. Okay, so what were the findings? during the recovery period, that is 72 hours after the treadmill run, the almond group compared to the others had a much better result because they had a lower creatine kinase level, which is a marker of muscle damage, a sooner decline in the creatine kinase level after 72 hours, which might indicate a quicker recovery rate, better maintain knee flexion after 24 and 72 hours, reduced pain ratings following maximal contraction at 24 and 48 hours. It was much lower than the pretzel group. But there were no differences in the vertical jump force, CRP concentrations, myoglobin concentrations, and total antioxidant capacity. Right? So this was what was found by this group of researchers, and that led them to conclude that taking 2 ounces of almonds for 8 weeks modestly improved subjective pain ratings and helped to maintain muscle function and reduce the creatine kinase response to eccentric exercise. So this has a potential to promote increased exercise adherence. So what happens to even us is, okay, before I say that, this is the link for the full paper. You can go to that link and get the entire paper for you to get all the detailed studies and the graphs and everything. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is we all exercise, and especially people who do not exercise regularly. When we start to exercise, we find some aches and pains and stuff like that, right? And that kind of puts us off. We don't want to go back to exercise because of the aches and pains. But if there is some food that can help us to reduce the muscle damage and the soreness and help us to recover faster, we probably will tend to adhere to the exercise regularity much better. So that is what these these researchers are trying to say, that yes, eating a handful of almonds, rather handsful of almonds, does help in better recovery, better muscle recovery from muscle damage and muscle soreness and stuff like that, right? And in this, at the end of 72 hours, they measured the recovery, and they found also that the pain ratings did not come back to baseline level. So they suggested that if it were to be followed for longer than 72 hours, perhaps the pain would have reduced to normalcy, but it did not come down to normalcy even after 72 hours. So maybe there are some studies which can be taken further than what they have done, because this, again, like I said, it was a very recent study and published in the US. The second one that I'm going to show you is very similar to the first one. That's why I said 2 of them are based on exercise recovery. It's very, very similar, except that it was not done in the US and it was done in the UK, right? So this group of researchers led by Dr. Oliver Wittard, also titled "Snacking on Almonds Alleviates Perceived Muscle Soreness During Exercise Recovery," which translated to improved muscle performance during a vertical jump challenge. Very similar to the previous one, right? So why are we talking about a similar study? Only to show that there is a lot of similarity between 2 studies. So which means it goes to say that, okay, not just one group is showing positive results, there's also another group which is probably 1,000 kilometers away, which is also showing a very similar result. But yeah, they went a little more in depth and did a few other things too, which I will share with you. So Dr. Wittard is a senior lecturer in exercise metabolism and nutrition at King's College in London. So this again was to investigate the impact of 8 weeks of whole almond snacking on indices of muscle damage during acute recovery from eccentric based downhill running exercise. This is exactly what Dr. Kern and his team did, right? Also to investigate the impact of 8 weeks of almond snacking on changes in body composition and cardiometabolic parameters. Again, included 25 non-smoking participants who were again not on any anti-inflammatory medications, not on any supplements. Those were excluded. And this group of people were also mildly overweight, middle-aged, men and women, occasionally physically active, but not trained athletes or not regular exercise people. I mean, you know, who do exercise or who do sports. I mean, who perform sports on a daily basis, right? So here again, the intervention was 57 grams of whole almonds, raw almonds every day, and the control group ate 86 grams of unsalted pretzels. So what did they find? In both the studies, the participants were asked not to include any other nuts or seeds, because that again can probably give different results. So that was one thing. And secondly, they were not monitored for their daily dietary intake and physical activity. They were just asked to continue what they were eating and continue their whatever 1 or 4 hours of exercise that they were doing every week. That was not controlled at all, right? Okay, so yeah, so again, in this study also they performed a 30-minute downhill treadmill test after consuming 8 weeks of almonds, and this was induced, as I said before, to induce muscle damage and see how almonds affected muscle recovery. And they measured the participants' muscle function, muscle damage, inflammation, muscle soreness using a visual scale before, during, and at three time points after the treadmill test, very similar to the current study. But here, they also measured markers of cardiometabolic health: glucose, insulin, lipids and blood pressure, body composition, mood, appetite and well-being at base and after 8 weeks of almond snacking. So this again is the methodology used. I mean, this diagram is very self-explanatory. That's the baseline. This is after 8 weeks of almond consumption. This again is at 24 hours, 48 hours and 72 hours during recovery. Alright, all the 3 times they were measured for the same things like blood sampling, anthropometry and stuff like that. So what did this group of people find? Again, the participants who ate almonds had an almost 25% reduction in muscle soreness when performing an explosive power exercise, that is a vertical jump challenge, just like the previous group, over the cumulative 72 hours exercise recovery period. The perceived reduction in soreness translated to better muscle performance. So like I said before, when you don't have that much muscle soreness or muscle damage, you take at exercising. But no significant differences were observed in the measures of cardiometabolic health, muscle damage or inflammation, mood state or appetite. So earlier, before I started the presentation, I said, what do you think are the beneficial aspects of almonds? And we all said heart health, right? Not find any improvement in cardiometabolic risk factors, right? Isn't that surprising? Why? When they went back and checked this, they concluded this is because the group that they studied were all within the normal healthy range. So they all had normal lipid parameters and they were just mildly overweight or healthy. So when you have normal lipid parameters and normal insulin, glucose, everything, you don't see much change. There might be a little variation, but you don't see a significant change, right? So that is the reason they did not see significant changes in this, but that does not mean that almonds are not beneficial for heart health. They definitely are, because there are several other studies which I'm not going to talk about today. There are several other studies which have shown that taking almonds regularly can reduce LDL cholesterol, total cholesterol, HbA1c and fasting glucose, postprandial glucose. All of that can be reduced. And in fact, a study was done in India, in Mumbai, on adolescents and young adults, where they actually showed a decrease in HbA1c and total cholesterol after, I think, 3 months of almond consumption. So there are studies, they are beneficial for heart health, but this particular study did not see any difference only because the subjects were already in a healthy state. Alright, so again, the conclusion is very similar, that it can help us to adhere to exercise and helps to recover, the muscle soreness and muscle damage with regular consumption of almonds. The full paper is present here. If you're interested, you can take a look at the whole research paper. The last one I'm going to talk to you about is, excuse me, this is very close to home, and I'm sure you all might have heard of Dr. Anup Mishra. Have you? Yes. Okay, great. He's a very senior and very reputed and respected endocrinologist in India. He is based in New Delhi, and he has done, I don't know, innumerable amounts of research in diabetes. So Dr. Anup Mishra and his colleague Dr. Seema Gulati, who heads the Nutrition Research Group, they did a study together. It was a 2-phase study. They did a study together on almonds, and this was done last year. So let me share the study with you. So basically, their background, they said the background of the study was that rapid conversion from pre-diabetes to diabetes is very, very frequent in our country, right? In Indians, and we know the number of Indians who have type 2 diabetes is very, very high. And the number of people with pre-diabetes in India is even higher than the number of people who already have diabetes, right? So it is estimated that more than 100 million people in India live with pre-diabetes, and unfortunately most of them don't know that they have pre-diabetes. And the researchers say that anything between 12 to 18% of people who have pre-diabetes progress to diabetes every year. So if 100 million people have pre-diabetes, 12 to 18% is a very, very large number. And if every year that many people are turning from pre-diabetes to diabetes, you can imagine the growth or the increase in diabetes prevalence in our country. It's really going to go, I don't know, it's already becoming an epidemic. So what they did was they took 60 overweight or obese Indian adults, Indian adults, in the age range of 18 to 60 years who had pre-diabetes, and they participated in 2 studies, short-term and long-term. In both studies, these 60 people ate 20 grams of raw unsalted almonds 30 minutes before breakfast and before lunch and before dinner throughout the study duration. You might have all heard or read that we don't prescribe carbohydrate to begin with for people with diabetes in a meal, right? We always say don't start your meal with carbohydrates. Why is that? Exactly. Increases blood, exactly. It increases blood glucose levels, and which in turn makes the production of insulin. All of that cycle goes on, right? So, what do you advise your people with diabetes? What should they start from?
Fiber.
Exactly, and exactly, right? So fiber, you begin with fiber and protein so that the glycemic load of the meal comes down, and which definitely helps in controlling the blood glucose much better. So this is behind this, this concept is behind this study, and they chose almonds obviously because it's high in protein as well as high in fiber, right? Okay, so I'm going to present the short-term study first. This short-term study included 2 phases. The first phase was the OGTT-based crossover randomized control study. So on day 1 and day 9, the participants were divided into groups of 30 people each, and one group consumed 20 grams of almonds before a meal, and the other group did not receive any almonds, right? And day 2 to 8 was a washout period, right? Okay, those who completed the OGTT went on to the CGMS study after day 10 to 17 being a washout period. The phase 2 was a 3-day CGMS, and the researchers compared the glycemic effects of preloading 3 meals, that is breakfast, lunch and dinner, with 20 grams of almonds for 3 consecutive days in the intervention group along with the control group for comparison. Oops. Yeah. So what did they find? In the OGTT based study phase, glucose, insulin, plasma glucagon and C-peptide after the 70 grams of oral glucose load were lower for the almond group versus the control group. Expected, right? Because they are having protein and fiber to begin with, the 20 grams of almonds, right? There was also a significant decrease in postprandial hyperglycemia levels in various ways, indicating improved regulation of glycemic response among almond consumers. Similarly, the CGMS-based study phase showed improvement in glucose variability. Today, glucose variability is also being measured regularly for patients with diabetes, because although HbA1c might seem very normal, the glucose variability can change, right? And that affects the insulin secretion and things like that, right? So that again, they found that there was much better improvement in the almond group over the first 24 hours in the almond group, indicating better glucose control, and it was lowered by 10% in the almond group compared to the control group, right? So treatment with pre-meal almond loading significantly improved many indicators like lower mean 24-hour blood glucose concentration, less time spent above an elevated blood glucose level of 140 mg/dl. As you know, the blood glucose goes up after a meal and comes down again. Lower peak 24-hour glucose levels, decreased postprandial blood glucose levels, lower minimum glucose levels at night, and lower overall hyperglycemia. Moving on to the long-term study, this again was a randomized controlled open-label parallel arm study to evaluate the effect of pre-meal load of almonds, again 30 minutes before lunch, breakfast, lunch and dinner. And anthropometry, glycemic and metabolic parameters were measured, right? And both the groups got diet and exercise counseling. So dietary counseling was of course done by the dietitians in the group, in the research group. And what advice do you think they gave the participants? To eat healthy, yeah? To include more of what? Of course, besides almonds, what else? Besides almonds, what else do you ask them to eat more?
Veggies.
Protein, vegetables, right? Yeah, especially the fiber-rich ones. And what else? Whole grains? Yeah, right? So all of that healthy dietary advice was given, monitored through food frequency and all of that. And their exercise advice given was 45 minutes of walking every day, right? And today we know that the 150 minutes of 150 minutes of exercise per week does not hold good anymore, especially for Indians, right? Because we need much more, right? So it's 150 minutes has now become 300 minutes of exercise per week. That is how many hours is that? 300 minutes would be like 5 hours? 5 hours, right? Yeah, approximately 5 hours per week, which means at least an hour per day, right? So that is the advice given specially for Indians, because we really need to improve our muscle mass and reduce our fat mass. All right, so 45 minutes of daily walking was also advised to all the participants in the study. And they were given home use glucometers to measure their glucose levels and of course monitor the dietary intake and exercise. And study measures comprised a variety of anthropometrics: body weight, circumference, waist circumference, hip circumference, and skin fold thickness, mid-arm circumference, all of that. And insulin, blood sugar, fasting and postprandial, HbA1c, C-peptide, glucagon, proinsulin, HSCRP, TNF-alpha and lipids. So a lot of measures were done in this study. So this again, just to show you the methodology. Inclusion criteria was age between 18 to 16 years of age, 16 years. Fasting glucose had to be more than or equal to 100 mg and less than 126 mg/dl, right? 2-hour plasma glucose had to be more than or equal to 150 mg/dl and less than 200 mg/dl after ingestion of 75 grams of oral glucose. Those within this range were allowed to enter the long-term study. Right? So, although more than 1,000 people were screened, finally 60 people came to the study, the ones who were included, and they were randomized. So there was a control arm and there was an intervention arm, right? So what was the methodology followed. On visit 1, that is day 1, investigations were done: anthropometry, body composition, biochemical, clinical, dietary data, and self-monitoring of blood glucose. All of that was done on visit 1. Visit 2 was day 30, because this was a 3-month study. Anthropometry, body composition, dietary data, self-monitoring of blood glucose, and compliance was done. On visit 3, day 60, same as visit 2, and visit 4 was day 90, study completed, and the same investigations as day 1 was done, because that was the end. Yeah. So, what did they find? They found that eating 20 grams of almonds before breakfast, lunch and dinner for 3 months resulted in reduction of body weight, body mass index, waist circumference, subscapular and suprailiac skin folds, as well as improved hand grip strength. So this is something that a lot of people did not expect, because we always, like I said, these are diabetes researchers. They would definitely expect improvement in blood glucose levels, insulin levels, and so on. But this was, the body composition, there was very good improvement. There was no change in HDL cholesterol, which is a great thing. It didn't fall, which is a great thing. And but they did see improvement in fasting glucose, HbA1c, 2-hour post OGTT blood glucose, as well as insulin resistance, total cholesterol, and VLDL cholesterol. So this study, it's really mind-blowing, because there were so many parameters that improved in this group, and 60 subjects is a good number too, right? And it also led about 1/4 of the participants from pre-diabetes to normoglycemic state. So isn't that all what we want, right? We want our subjects to actually become more healthy and not move from pre-diabetes to diabetes stage, right? So if it is as simple as just giving them, asking them to eat almonds before a meal, which helps to improve the protein, fiber, and other micronutrient levels, and if that can help to move from pre-diabetes to normal glycemic state, that would be fantastic, because that could arrest them from moving towards diabetes stage, right? So the researchers felt that, is that a lunch alarm or something? Okay. The researchers felt that there is a promising effect of reversal to normal glucose regulation, similar to acerbose and metformin over the short term. So we all know that acerbose and metformin are very common drugs which are given for people with diabetes, but they are useful. I'm not saying they're not useful. They're definitely necessary for people with diabetes. They definitely bring down the HbA1c and the glucose levels and all of that, but they do not have an influence over body composition. They do not bring down the body measurements. They do not have any influence on weight management, things like that. Whereas, as against medication, this is a natural food which anybody can eat, right? And moving from pre-diabetes to diabetes is a great way. We would rather give a natural food rather than giving a supplement or a medication or something like that to be more healthy, right? So, this was what was seen, and the researchers concluded that that participants who ate 20 grams of almonds 30 minutes before a meal showed significant improvements in glycemic control compared to not eating almonds before meals. And almonds can be a part of a nutritious solution offering good potential for the reversal of pre-diabetes to normal glucose regulation over 3 months, and therefore potentially prevent or delay the development of diabetes in people with pre-diabetes. This is the link for the full paper. Please go through if you're interested. And I think this is the end. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you found the presentation useful. And I hope you will continue to eat almonds and prescribe almonds to all your family members, your patients, and everyone else. Yeah, thank you. Do we have a Q&A session? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful session. Your expertise has truly deepened our understanding of how simple dietary choices like incorporating almonds can have a significant impact on health, on metabolic health, and enhance our exercise recovery and also improve adherence to physical activity. So your emphasis on the evidence-based nutrition and practical strategies like how to incorporate almonds in our daily life has given us valuable takeaways that we can implement in our daily lives. I'm sure that our students enjoyed this delightful retreat by California Almonds, and now we open the floor for discussion followed by a question and answer session where the students can engage further on the topics that were presented.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was a very nice thank you note. All right. So, any questions on almonds? Are you convinced? Yes. Yeah. So, what do you plan to do with whatever knowledge you gained today? What was one thing that really what should I say? That really stayed in your mind, or that you will carry forward? What message did you get? One message. Anybody? Besides eating almonds every day, that I think is a very, very simple one. But what is the one thing that really made a difference or made a mark in your minds? Anyone? Sorry?
Muscle recovery.
Yeah, muscle recovery. Yes, almonds can be used for muscle recovery. Anything else? Yes. That was a fantastic study, right? Yeah. So people can move from pre-diabetes to diabetes. And all it takes is a simple food solution. We don't need a medical solution for it. A food solution works so well, right? Anything else?
I think we used to always recommend the patients or people who used to advise that they should take almonds in their shakes before, or nuts before they go for a workout. And I think now we'll change it and make it after workout. So because we know that it helps in muscle.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, did you hear what she said? Yeah. Okay, great. So, yes, they can be eaten before workout, they can be eaten after a workout, they can be eaten as a snack, they can be eaten before meals like the study showed. They can basically be eaten, they can be eaten early morning like all of you have been doing for so many years, right? So, they can be eaten anytime, easy to carry, yeah, it doesn't spoil, right? The shelf life is pretty good of almonds, it doesn't spoil very fast. Easy to carry, easy to munch on, and you don't have to eat everything at one go. You can spread it over the day. So a lot of advantages. And they're also tasty. And they're also, I mean, it's been in our country, in our culture for so many decades. So why not just continue that habit? Right? Anything else?
Students, you should ask questions.
Yeah.
Ma'am, there are many varieties of almonds, so how could we know that which almond variety is good and which is not? How could we differentiate in between?
There are basically it's a very good question, yes, thank you for that. Basically in India, the majority of almonds that are available is the California almonds. And I think a small belt in the north has another different variety of almonds, which is probably grown in India. But that's a very small quantity that is grown and sold in India, right? There is no good or bad variety here. Almonds are nutritious, and as far as I know, there's not a significant difference between California almonds and the other Indian variety that's available. They are, they're probably almost the same nutritionally, except that the taste is slightly different because many people have told me that the California almonds are slightly sweeter to taste and more easily, it's your taste buds like them much better, whereas the Indian ones are slightly bitter. So if you can eat bitter tasting almonds, that's fine. But I think most people don't like the bitter taste; they prefer the sweeter taste, right? So that's why California almonds are more popular, and they are most available across the country. and in a much larger quantity than the other variety. And as far as I know, these are the only two varieties present. I don't know. I mean, if there's anything else, please let me know.
Ma'am, there is cheaper variety of almonds in market. Is that also good, or we should?
I don't know. When you say cheaper variety, is it because it's local or something like that? I don't know. Maybe it is local. So that, you know what I suggest is try both. Yeah, try both. See how the taste is. See what you like. And then maybe you can share the feedback with your teachers and students. I mean, with your classmates. Yeah? And nutritionally, I don't think there's much difference. But taste-wise, I've been told that there is a difference. Yeah? You're welcome. Thank you for asking that question. Anything else?
Ma'am, according to you, what would be the best way to consume almonds, like soaked and peeled, or if there's any other way?
See, I would say eat it the way you like it. Right? Many people like, as a consumer, I would say, if you like soaked and peeled almonds, go ahead. If you like, the whole almonds, go ahead. But include them because they are a healthy inclusion to our daily diet, right? But as a dietitian, I will say that eat raw, unsoaked, unpeeled almonds because it has fiber. And the antioxidants are present close to the skin. So when that is removed, then you're not only losing fiber, you're also losing some of the antioxidants. So like I said, you go ahead and eat the way you want. But yeah, of course, the people who have gut issues and the elderly who can't chew very well, they have chewing problems, dental issues maybe, and gut health problems and stuff like that. For them, we tell them to either eat it in almond milk form, or maybe grind it into a paste and add it with something else. Somebody mentioned about a milkshake. So something like that, or maybe soaked and peeled because it's easier to chew. Those kind of changes can be made, but otherwise, I think whole almonds are great. And like I said, all the scientific studies have been done with whole almonds. I mean, even Anup Mishra's study, he's taken 60 subjects, 60 Indians. And there was another study done by Dr. Mohan. I don't know if you've heard his name. I think many of you have heard his Dr. Mohan's name, right? Dr. V. Mohan. Again, another one of the top endocrinologists in Chennai. Sometime back, I think this was 2 or 3 years ago, he did a study with more than 350 people, 350 subjects. And there again, he saw excellent improvement in insulin resistance, better insulin sensitivity and reduction in serum cholesterol, and this was done in Chennai, of course. And he used again whole almonds. So it's not that we cannot use whole almonds, because all these top researchers have been using whole, unpeeled, raw almonds, unsalted too, of course. They've been using whole almonds every single day for weeks and months together without any problem. So I think as dietitians we should use whole almonds, right? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Anything else?
Is it good to eat almonds alone, or we can club it with the other nuts as well?
Well, that choice is yours. But I would say, that, I'm sure all of you know that NIN has come out with that My Plate for the Day, right? Which has the nuts and seeds segment, which I think says 30 to 35 grams of nuts and seeds per day, right? So, I leave it to you, but I'm here to talk to you about almonds, and I'm sure the other people will talk to you about other things. But almonds are a great food. And also something that we have been used to, right? It's not a new food for us. Yes.
How long after exercise should almonds be consumed for an optimal recovery benefit?
So, here the two studies have shown that 24 hours, first of all the 8 weeks of almond consumption was there. And after that 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours they consumed almonds consistently, right? So that is what showed improvement in exercise recovery and reduced muscle damage, right? So you can take almonds soon after you finish your exercise, or you can probably wait for half an hour and then have your almonds, or you can have it even before the exercise. It doesn't matter at all. Yeah? Thank you. Anything else?
Any more questions?
Ma'am, what is your take on almond milk? Like, will it help nutritionally?
Okay, good question. So, what do you think almond milk has?
Just water, and I don't think because fiber is all removed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, of course, it has a lot of water, but then there is also some amount of almond nutrition that goes into almond milk. But it definitely is devoid of fiber. And when you take a glass of almond milk, the protein quantity is also less than compared to eating a handful of almonds, right? Because a handful of almonds, a handful of almonds is that much, your fistful. And that gives approximately 6 grams of protein. Whereas a glass of almond milk, I don't think will give you 6 grams of protein. It's going to be much less. So nutritionally, it will be slightly less. But I'm not saying we shouldn't take that, because it is a great substitute for people with lactose intolerance or casein allergy or whatever it is, right? It's a very good substitute. A lot of people have started to take almond milk, and that's why I think today in supermarkets we find Tetra packs of almond milk, and people are consuming almond milk much more than what vegans. That's another new trend that has started in India. So vegans are consuming almond milk, and I think your director, Dr. Gokhale, also mentioned about using almond flour, especially useful for people with gluten sensitivity or celiac problems and things like that. Definitely almond flour is a great substitute, and I think the bakery units now across the country are using almond flour in place of maida and wheat. So yes, it can definitely be of use, in place of something else. But nutritionally speaking, if you're comparing whole almonds to a glass of almond milk, I would rather eat the whole almonds because I get fiber and all of those benefits. Okay. Anything else? Okay, wow.
More questions? Any comments?
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, comments and your feedback. I would love to hear those. Did you find the session useful?
Yes.
Wow, thank you.
So just to conclude, what you say that
Eat
how
almonds
much
every day.
That's one thing.
Simple.
But how much is too much? Like,
So normally we advise a handful of almonds. That's an excellent question. NIN, like I said again, has said about 30 to 35 grams of nuts and seeds per day, right? So again, almonds also we normally say a handful of almonds, which is about an ounce. It's about 28 grams. If you count number-wise, again it depends on the size of the almonds, because some are big and some are small. So I think it comes to anything between 20 and 25 numbers. If you're keeping count of numbers. Otherwise, a handful, that is about 28 grams, let's say approximately 30 grams per day is absolutely fine. We cannot replace the rest of the food groups with almonds, if that's what you're asking. No, we don't tell anybody to replace the food groups with one single food, right? It has to be, almonds now have to be a part of a well-balanced meal plan. Not all by themselves. They cannot replace any food group. We need the fruits, we need the vegetables, we need the whole grains, we need the protein, we need all of that, and we also need nuts like almonds. So that's what we are trying to say. And why? The studies, of course, were talking about the benefits of almonds in different ways. But as dietitians, we always say, make almonds a part of your well-balanced meal plan, not just all by itself.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, in the
the studies, they were giving 20 grams of almonds before every meal.
Correct.
So it comes down to 60 grams.
Correct.
In a day.
Yes. Yes, that was a Mishra study, right? Yeah, 20 grams before every meal comes to say yes. That was his study. In fact, even in the other two exercise recovery study was also 57 grams of, so 57, so 2 ounces, basically 2 ounces. That is for the study purpose. But otherwise, on a normal, regular basis, we normally advocate 1 ounce per day. And that is along the lines of ICMR. Anything else? Yes.
In the research it was 57 grams. So if we like take 25 grams or so will it give the same result as it is giving in 57 grams?
Yeah, I mean, very good question. We don't know. I cannot say, because like I said, the research has been done with 57 grams by somebody else now, and they haven't done it with 25 grams. I mean, half the amount is what you're saying, right? But I don't know if the results will be the same. Maybe, maybe not. But let's look at it this way. There will be some benefit, right? It may not have the same effect as eating twice the amount. And this is specifically done for exercise recovery or for pre-diabetes to normal glycemic state and stuff like that. But if you just look at it as a part of a meal, everyday meal, as a consumption in an everyday meal plan, there are definitely a lot of benefits, because in one of the first 1 or 2 slides I showed you the nutrients that almonds contain, right? So overall health benefit is there. And we as dietitians, we always promote healthy eating. So this can be a part of your healthy eating plan. In the long run, it might help in preventing all these diseases, as well as in better muscle recovery and reduce muscle damage and things like that. Yeah? Okay, anything else? Somebody else I think raised a hand here. Yes.
Thank you. It was a very insightful session.
Thank you.
Are there any drug interactions associated with almond or any almond-based products?
Oh, wow. That's a very interesting question, and I don't have an answer to that, sorry. Because we have not, at least I have not come across any study which talks about drug and almond interaction. Interesting. Maybe I will definitely put this across to the Almond Board of California. Maybe that is a thought that they can give. Yeah? Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Anything else? Yeah, comments and feedback, please. I would love to hear that. No? Hungry? Lunchtime? Not yet? Yeah? Hypoglycemic?
There is a feedback form which is designed.
Oh.
Yes, so this is the QR code for the feedback.
Oh, okay. Did you all get this?
Yes.
Okay, you've given your feedback already?
Yes.
Okay, great. How will I know your feedback? Okay. Anything else? Yeah? Okay, thank you so much. You've been so attentive and so beautifully interactive. Thank you so much. You made a fantastic audience. Thank you.
Thank you for your engaging questions and the valuable insights. And a special thanks to ma'am for addressing them so thoughtfully. And as we conclude this session, I invite our HOD, Dr. Kavita Menon ma'am, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Just a quick vote of thanks. Thank you, Sheila ma'am. I know I stand between your lunch. Thank you. Insightful studies. I do have some personal thoughts on it, which I will talk to you at a later stage. Yeah. But what ma'am said is right. It's interesting in a way that fulfilling your needs from nuts and oilseeds is something that needs to be focused. At the same time, I heard a question, should it all be almonds? Again, that's a personal choice. But most interestingly, what we need to take home from here is that as our population has many deficiencies and we are not meeting our requirements. We know that all. At least having nuts and oil seeds, especially in terms of almonds and the ones that we commonly use, it helps definitely to fill somewhat of that gap that we have. So, interesting, some of the studies have really thoughtfully done. What I would suggest is that, like as Atul sir said, almonds are here forever, but consuming that also is something important. Raw is good, as ma'am pointed, there is nothing to worry about it. But traditionally there are some practices of soaking it overnight and taking it. Well, that reduces phytic acid content, but don't peel off that skin. Yes. That's all the more even better. So use it, help yourself. Probably some more studies looking at how it works with cognition and other areas would be something, because considering the omega-3 and its benefits. Thank you, ma'am. Insightful session, and thank you for bringing us again to giving us another opportunity to board you and have you here with almonds. Thank you, Mahima, and thank you all. Thank you, Atul sir, Reshma ma'am, and thank you, Radhika, for taking it up and again presenting it, giving this opportunity for the new batch and faculty. Thanks all. Thank you.
I now request Dr. Radhika Hedao ma'am to come and address the audience.
Just a quick vote of thanks also for the SCANS member team. Thank you, Gokhale sir, for giving this opportunity to ABC and collaborate with us. Also, in this brief event that we have our SCANS staff members. So thank you, Shraddha ma'am, for that beautiful welcome board, the wonderful nameplates by Nisha. We also have the arrangements by Vishnu Dada, by Chandrakant Dada, and also the stationery by Kunal, and the lunch arrangements by Mohini ma'am and the entire team, and the buzzers team and Prasanna, who are here, who are continuously clicking pictures here. And also thank you, Dr. Devki, for the standees and the backdrop along with Mohini ma'am. Thank you, Surbhi, for the stage coordination and overall arrangement. Thank you so much, Mohini ma'am. And for the students' discipline, attendance, thank you, Dr. Aarti and Shruti. And this feedback form also, thank you, Dr. Aarti, for making it. And most importantly, thank you, Mahi, thank you, Mahima, for this wonderful collaboration. Students, I hope you all have benefited, and I hope you have at least one take-home message today. Thank you so much. And over to you, Samiksha. Samiksha, wonderfully you have anchored it. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, thank you.
We now invite our guests and the faculty members to join us for lunch at the Beehive Culinary Kitchen. And I request the students to complete the feedback form, and then you can proceed to the Beehive Kitchen as well.
Yeah. You all are invited for the lunch. Please don't go without the lunch. Can you announce? There is one more group photograph with the banner there.
We have a group photograph right near the photo op. So I would request if everyone can just go behind and we can just take a quick picture.
Students, I think all of you should be there with Sheila ma'am.
ये कैमरे में देखो. Thank you.
मैंने उस दिन देखा है कि नहीं वो
ओके थैंक यू। फोटो हो गया था, एक साथ में फोटो ले लीजिए। एकच मिनटं फक्त, परत एक ग्रुप फोटो घेऊ. एक ग्रुप फोटो वापस घेऊ. इसके साथ ओके प्लीज एक ग्रुप फोटो. ओके थँक्यू. साईडचं पण येते ना पूर्ण दिलं आहे ना.
I think we should also mention it to, do some kind of research on that. It's a very
There's so many different topics that
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you. We can also collaborate for the research. Yes. Because we have
besides
decided
the activity.
Yes. Because we have designations.
Yeah, we have to offer this to Mr.
माझ्या
He makes all the decisions and then it's globally.
Then it's sent to the headquarters, global headquarters.
Very smooth process.
Yes. Now please have a good lunch. I'll just check with the
रिलीज में गोखले सर का नाम मेंशन है और अगर गोखले सर का उसमें नहीं रहता तो मैं करता हूँ. बट पता है मुझे कौन सी पिक्चर चाहिए थी, तब आप नहीं आए थे, मेरे को ये पिक्चर चाहिए.